When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. If you want to get access to my content early, check out my Discord. Even though I haven't done that in a while, I definitely will start doing it again, but not for a little bit. This is the Sith of Gotham City, Chapter 1, Sith Acolyte, Part 6. Before we begin, I'm going to run some information. Now, in this series itself, counting Part 0, I've made 7 parts. This is the 6th part, so I don't know when I'm going to go back to my schedule, but for the time being, I'm going to concentrate mainly on this series. Now, I'm not sure if I want to finish it like all the way through, but it all depends on how easy the script writing goes with this. I don't know like when the DC stuff's going to happen. I want to at least make Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 mostly about Star Wars stuff in the Star Wars universe. Maybe I'll implement the DC stuff, and maybe in Chapter 3. Not totally sure, but we'll see how things move along as I build the story. Alright, now, let's continue where we last left off in our story. Elijah walked out of the shop where he just purchased a black kyber crystal and re-entered the market district, trying to locate a human male that is associated with some sort of gang on this planet that goes by the alias Crow. It didn't take Elijah long to attract some of the locals. Most of them chose to mind their own business, with some slightly giving him a glance. There's not many people that would wear hooded cloaks walking through the city. Elijah is quite tall for his age, but he's still quite short compared to a full-grown adult. Elijah could sense through the force that he's being trailed by 4 members of one of the local gangs on this world. Elijah led them to a secluded area in a big enough alleyway, easy enough to fight in, just in case things get violent, and Elijah has no doubt things will definitely get extremely violent. Elijah used the force to pull his practice saber into the palm of his hand. Then he immediately spun around to face the adult human males coming his way. Elijah didn't ask why they were following him. He knows full well why they're following him by the fact that they have slave collars in their hands. The moment he saw that, Elijah ignited his practice saber as the black blade came to life. Alright boys, open fire, stun the kid. Don't kill him. We need him alive so we could sell the kid. He'll definitely catch a nice price. Elijah redirected all of the laser bolts, or energy bolts, that was fired upon him with his practice saber. Then Elijah cut the distance between himself and the slavers in mere instants, well, basically mere seconds. The first one went down fast by Elijah chopping off his head. Then Elijah used a force push, slamming the 3 remaining men into the wall. Then immediately afterwards, he left one of them using, he left one of them using a force grip, force choke, while shooting out black force lightning out of his fingertips from his opposite hand, killing the 2 men instantly. Now, you're going to answer a few of my questions, scum. And you're going to answer them truthfully. Like hell I am. I'm not telling you shit, freak. Wrong answer. Elijah released the force grip. When the man's feet was about to touch the ground, Elijah force pushed the slaver into the nearby wall, cracking it. As he gave him a good dose of force lightning from his fingertips, making the man scream out in pain as Elijah cut off the force lightning. You could either do this the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. I'm good either way. Either you give me the information I want willingly, or I torture it out of you. I know of many methods to do so. I could utilize in so many different ways. Mother always said practice makes perfect. Elijah made the man hover above the ground using the force. As he unleashed another dose of force lightning, traveling through the slaver's body, making him scream out in pain once again. As Elijah begins to decrease the power of his force lightning, until Elijah cut off the force lightning, sensing Dark Scarlet is approaching as she steps out of the shadows. Excellent timing, acolyte. And the most impressive display of force lightning. It's very rare to find an acolyte that's able to utilize that force ability. And to do it only at your 2nd year. Most impressive. Luckily for you, well versed in this specific force technique. Allow me to instruct you. I want you to shoot force lightning at this man, but decrease the power. You don't want your force lightning to be too powerful and kill the subject, but you don't want it to be so weak that it doesn't cause as much pain as possible. That would defeat the purpose of torture. You should also keep in mind that the subject's pain tolerance is at. You can easily spot it when a subject is about to lose consciousness out of pure agonizing pain. Elijah did what he was instructed and released a weakened burst of force lightning at the man, making him scream out in pain once again. Good. Very good. Now keep that power output right there. That, my eager acolyte, is the sweet spot. Everyone has one. Now tell me what I want to know, or shall I continue? Slaver scum. Fine, I surrender. What do you want? What do you want to know? Elijah could tell the man's completely terrified, for good reason. I'm looking for a man that goes by the alias Crow. You're going to tell me where he is. Are you mad? He has close connections to the exchange. Do I look like I care? Tell me the location. Fine. Just don't shoot me with that electrical thing you did with your fingertips. He hangs out in the Undercity. There's a lift that will take you to the Undercity by the Market District. Thank you. You've been most helpful. With a singular twist of his wrist, Elijah snaps the man's neck using the force as he pushed the dead body into the wall. Shall we go, master? We shall, acolyte. Elijah led the way, while Scarlet wasn't far behind. Scarlet did notice the 3 different type of lightsabers on the acolyte's hip attached to his belt. It's not uncommon for an acolyte to collect trophies, so Scarlet paid it no mind. You've been handling that new model pretty well. What's your opinion on the new model of the practice sabers that they implemented last year? I've been very pleased with my practice saber. There's some limitations, but appearance alone, you can't really identify between the two. It looks just like a real lightsaber. The practice saber looks identical. Of course, the hilts differ between each hilt. Overall design, like I said, differs from hilt to hilt. Pretty much stay the same as a real lightsaber. When it comes to actual combat, the practice saber works well enough, but fighting against an opponent that is wielding a real lightsaber, that's a different story entirely. True, you might be able to keep up using a practice saber, fighting against an opponent who's wielding a lightsaber, but it's not meant for long-term duels. The blade will eventually fizzle out. But it's a good tool to get acolytes to get used to wielding a lightsaber. All good points. I'll have someone notified of the flaws of the practice saber. It looks like we have arrived at the lift. It seems so, Master. Odd, I figured the lift would be at least guarded by at least a couple lookouts. You got to keep in mind, acolyte, that this entire planet is controlled by the Hutt cartel. They don't really guard anything that doesn't seem important or valuable to them. To them, the lift is no importance. They don't care who enters the Undercity and who doesn't. It doesn't seem to be important to them. You won't find such obvious gaps in security in the Empire. Hutts are not known for their intelligence. Greed, maybe, but at the end of the day, they're fat, greedy aliens. As Elijah activated the elevator lift that will take him to the Undercity, once Elijah pressed the button, The elevator lift begins to descend down. I'm quite curious on what's your next step. There's 3 ways I could go about this, Master. Massacre everyone in my way, and torture the information out of Crow. For the second option, that he gives me the information willingly, or the third option, it seems like everyone on this world is more concerned over credits, so I'll just pay for the information. Or the fourth option, I pay for the information, kill everyone in the room, and kill Crow afterwards to cut loose ends. I'm leaning more over option 1, 3, and 4. I would have to agree. The likelihood of Crow giving the information out willingly is very unlikely. The dossier did have an image of Crow, so I know what he looks like. I might not have a direct location to him, but that could be easily rectified. The lift finally stopped as the door opened up, revealing the Undercity. Crime is rampant down here in the Undercity. It seems... What can I say, guys? It seems we have company. This is also the perfect opportunity to teach you how to use the Force to extract information out of someone's mind. And there's plenty of volunteers, as Scarlet gestured with her hand towards the group of thugs heading their way, all carrying blasters. Elijah, just remember, keep one of them alive. The rest of them are expendable. Copy that, Master. Elijah extended his hand outwards, reaching out in the Force. Because of the thug's weak minds, he easily took control of their bodies, except the one in the middle. He begins to force them to point their own blasters at each other. Except for the one in the middle, for obvious reasons. His single gesture with his hand, like he's holding a gun as he's squeezing the trigger. Several bodies drop to the ground with blaster holes in their body, being killed by their own people and by their own weapons. Elijah force-pulled the remaining thug towards him and ignited his practice saber and cut through his blaster as Elijah had the black blade of his practice saber at his throat, mere inches away from his skin, as the thug could feel the heat of the weapon. Before the terrified thug could react, Scarlet kicked the guy in the back of the knee, forcing him on his knees, as she grabbed him by the hair and had a dagger to his throat. Excellent work. Now I want you to reach out to this insect mind using the dark side of the Force. There will be a slight resistance, but I highly doubt this waste of space will be too difficult to invade his mind, even for an acolyte. Use your anger. Let that guide your path forward. Channel it like a fine tool weapon. Elijah did so. At first, nothing happened, as he extended his hand outwards towards the man's face, mere inches away from touching his skin. Then out of nowhere, something just clicked, as Elijah forcefully made his way into the man's mind, and he wasn't being very gentle about it. As the man was screaming out in pain, blood begins to drip from his nose, ears, eyes, and mouth. Don't worry, acolyte. The dizziness you feel will eventually pass. You get used to it. Without even a second glance, Elijah cut the man's head off with his practice saber. So what did you learn? I learned the exact location where Crow is. But the rest of the information I got from that scumbag was useless. I did the galaxy a favor in eliminating such an incompetent and stupidity. Very good. You're shaping up to be quite the Sith, acolyte, but you're not there yet. Lead the way. Understood, Master. As Elijah deactivated his practice saber and attached it to his hip, and continued to lead the way through the Undercity. So where is this Crow located? Some sort of nightclub that is owned and run by a gang that goes by the title of Black Mist. And it happens this Crow is the leader of this little gang that resides in a nightclub called the Black Hole. It seems we have arrived at our destination as Elijah and Scarlet is about a block away from the nightclub. They could clearly see it in the distance, or in their viewpoint. Elijah approached some sort of cafe that is right across on the other side of the street of the nightclub that's run by some sort of alien he's never seen before. It gave them a good viewpoint of the nightclub as Elijah begins to stake out the front entrance of the nightclub while sitting at the diner. It wasn't very hard for Scarlet to figure out what Elijah was doing. An old-fashioned stakeout. How intriguing. As Scarlet says that more to herself than Elijah. Elijah did catch that, what she said, but chose not to say anything. As they begin to order food and non-alcoholic beverage. So Elijah, I'm a bit curious. Have you been informed of your second trial? I haven't heard anything of it yet. I've been mostly focused on a little side project I've been working on with one of my fellow acolytes that I have associated with on multiple occasions now. Now you got me intrigued. What do you know of a sector of the Sith that goes by Light Sith? Scarlet Dementor turned instantly as her eyes got colder. I've heard the rumors of it. If it's true, they should be eradicated. No true Sith would willingly use the light side of the Force. They're heretics. They should be killed on the spot. I don't disagree you is there on that. They are traitors. They need to be eradicated. But I could sense you really don't care. There's no anger in you when it comes to the Light Sith. Like you said, they're traitors. Why start wasting any emotion on them? They do need to be killed. That won't change. They're no different than a Jedi. Speaking of Jedi, I did take a look on that mission report about what happened at that luxury cruiser. According to the reports, you came across a Jedi. 2, to be more precisely. It even said you crossed blades with him. You are correct, I did, as he took the lightsaber from the Jedi off his belt and placed it on the table. This belongs to him. A bit of guarantee he'll come find me when he wants his property back. That's the only reason why I haven't bled the Kyber crystal yet. I have no intention in doing so. I'm only using this lightsaber to lure him in. And I got in the habit of collecting lightsabers for my own personal amusement. And it's always nice to have a spare lightsaber around, ready to be used, just in case. That is true. That is true, you haven't assembled your very first lightsaber. Most Sith either create their own or kill a Jedi and take their lightsaber and bleed their kyber crystal. Unfortunately, the Empire doesn't have a steady supply of kyber crystals. We were forced to make artificial ones. It's a good thing I came across one in one of the shops. Well, aren't you the clever boy? I made sure ever since I went to the Sith Academy to be prepared. Half the time I'm over prepared. That's a good habit to get into. The galaxy is very cruel and unfair, especially to us Sith. It's always good to have a couple aces in the hole to use at your leisure. Just be sure not to underestimate the Jedi. I've seen many Sith fall prey to their hubris and arrogance, underestimating their opponent and getting killed for doing so. I would hate to see a promising upcoming Sith like you to fall prey to the same fate. I'll keep that in mind. I'm very competent in my skill, but nor am I a fool. I learned from a young age to never underestimate your opponent, no matter who they are, or who they're affiliated with. Good. With that mindset, you will do fine. It looks like Crow has finally arrived. As they watch Crow go into the nightclub. That's him, all right. Elijah paid for the food that they ate as they both left the diner and began to walk down the street. Well, across the street. Walking towards the nightclub. That calls it, well, the nightclub that's called the Black Hole. The nightclub doesn't look open by the look of it. It hasn't been, and by the look of it, it hasn't been open for quite some time. That was Elijah's thoughts walking up to the nightclub as he noticed two guards were positioned in front of the main entryway of the nightclub. The Black Mist gang members guarding the front entrance of the nightclub were wearing heavy armor, wielding large melee weapons attached to their back. By the look of it, Elijah could definitely identify the weapons they're carrying on their back. They're large vibro blades. Elijah approached the two Black Mist guards and used the Force to cloud their mind so they wouldn't even notice Elijah and Scarlet. Once Elijah got between the two guards, he force pushed both of them in the opposite walls, knocking them out. Elijah used the Force to open the door. Elijah, with his Sith cloak still on, walked into the nightclub. So does Scarlet, wearing her own Sith cloak, concealing her identity, much like Elijah is. The moment they stepped inside and walked past the main lobby of the nightclub, they walked into the heart of the nightclub. As Elijah could spot several humans and aliens, all pointed their blasters and energy rifles at Elijah, as Scarlet was using the Force to conceal her presence. She's here to observe Elijah to see how he handles the situation. It only took one charging Black Mist member to come his way, only for Elijah to force crush his skull, killing him instantly, as Elijah ignited his black practice saber. As the black blade came to life. From that simple action, everyone on the bottom floor and top floor of the middle of the nightclub opened fire upon Elijah. Elijah easily begins to reflect the blaster bolts right back at their original, to their place where they originated from. As another wave of energy bolts came flying towards his way, Elijah extended his hand towards stopping all of the laser bolts in midair, as he used the force to redirect the energy bolts right back towards them, mowing down a good portion of the Black Mist members on the bottom floor without any hesitation. He wiped out the remaining Black Mist members on the bottom floor by unleashing black force lightning out of his fingertips from a singular hand. Elijah looked up and saw several Black Mist members on the top floor. That's on some sort of balcony that you could see the entire middle area of the bottom floor of the nightclub, watching Elijah. As everyone on top floor watched Elijah approach the stairs, cautiously getting their blasters and their rifles ready. Even some of the melee users had their blades in their hands, ready for battle. Elijah didn't say anything. All everyone could hear is the sounds of Elijah's footsteps ascending the stairs, as his footsteps begin to echo throughout the quiet nightclub. Only sound that could be heard, besides Elijah's footsteps, was the humming coming from his practice saber, still ignited in his right hand. The moment he got to the second floor, and he was far enough from the stairs, he was completely surrounded by the Black Mist members, immediately pointing their weapons at Elijah. Elijah smirked under his black cloak. To everyone's shock, everyone started to point their own weapons at each other. Before any of them could say anything, they immediately opened fire as the Black Mist members killed themselves by Elijah using them like a puppet. As 15 Black Mist members fall down to the ground dead, as blaster bolts wounds could be seen, as smoke was radiating from the holes in their bodies, Elijah made his way where he could sense Crow. He used the power of the Force to rip the door as he went flying inside the room, flying just above Crow's head, digging into the wall. Crow was completely taken off guard, completely surprised, as Crow dropped his drink. Holy shit. As the glass broke once it made contact with the ground, Crow's inner thoughts, crap. I told that to Twi'lek bastard, Zelik. I didn't want any part of getting involved, but yet again, Zelik paid me a lot of money to locate several Sith artifacts. He had no idea why Zelik would be looking for Sith artifacts. It is common knowledge. He has connections with the Jedi and Republic. He should have figured Sith would come knocking on his door. Eventually, it only proves that the Empire has took notice to Zelix and himself actions by association, and he knows he can't stop the small Sith from killing everyone in this room. Sith are not known for their mercy or forgiveness. I'm definitely going to have to play this smart, or I'm a dead man. Welcome, little Sith, to my nightclub, the Black Hole. If I knew you were going to pay me a visit, I would have made sure my people were properly informed, so we would have had to avoid all this nasty business that just transpired. Please, have a seat. I have a feeling I know why you're here. Elijah sat down across from the man. I take it you're here for information about Zelix. You are correct. You know what I want. Easy there, little Sith. I can't outright give you the information, after all. It would look bad if I betrayed one of my associates. That's very unfortunate for you. Hold up, kid. But perhaps, if you were here to buy the information, then I would be more than willing to give you what you want. After all, I do a bit of info broking now and then. You know I could easily kill everyone in this room, torture the information out of you, and rid out the rest out of your mind. But of course, I'm not some sort of savage. I have credits, you have information I want. Let's talk business, shall we, Crow? You took the very words out of my mouth. How much are we talking? Normally, information like this would be pretty cheap, but considering you're asking about one of my most beneficial associates, he has provided me with many opportunities to make more credits. But if I know the Empire, you might be the first Sith came knocking on my front door, but you won't be the last. So I'd rather keep my life intact. Thank you very much. Name your price. 90,000. 90,000 credits. Elijah had his finger under his chin in a thinking pose. Elijah noticed it's not the going rate for information, but yet again, this is not ordinary information. 90,000 is a good amount of credits, but 90,000 to a Rosefield is pocket money. Elijah has more than enough at his disposal. Do you have the information I want? If so, I have the credits. As he placed the 9 credit sticks on the table, there's 90,000 there. Perfect, boys. Get him what he wants. After one of them left and came back with some sort of data pad, that's everything you need to know on that data pad. Pleasure doing business with you. Don't need to worry, it's all legit. It would be suicidal of me to give you false information. Without warning, Elijah took the data pad and got up and immediately killed everyone in the room using force lightning, clearing the entire room out of any life signs except for himself, Scarlet, and Crow. Crow was so shocked he was speechless. Elijah grabbed him by the wrist and pulled him slightly down towards his level as he placed the tip of his deactivated practice saber pressed against his chest, right over his heart. Your assistance has been most appreciated. You've been quite useful to me until this point, but that usefulness has took his course. Nothing personal, but you're a loose end. And I can't have you warn Zelix that he's being hunted. Goodbye, Crow. As he as he activated his practice saber as the black blade came to life. As the blade shot out through his chest, going out his back, piercing his heart, killing him instantly. Elijah deactivated his practice saber and attached it back to his belt and walked past a man as Crow dropped to the floor dead. As he yanked all of the credit chips, he gave Crow into his hands with the Force as he put them back where he pulled them out of. And that's where we're going to stop it. I'll catch you guys in the next part.